Hey, today we're going to talk about emotional waves for those with an emotional authority in human design. If you don't have emotional authority, you may still be curious, as if you have an open solar plexus, an emotional center as we call it, within your human design chart, you may amplify the emotions of those around you that have a defined emotional center. So this is very important when you're going through your human design experimentation to get to know and get used to those around you that have an emotional authority, or if you have one yourself, how to ride those emotional waves. And the reason I wanted to do this vlog is because more than 50% of the population, number one, more than 50% of the population have this authority within their human design. And two, it's quite a nuanced authority to have. So I've gone through a vlog for each of the types that can have an emotional authority. We've done one for manifesting generators, we've done one for generators, we've done one for manifestors, we've done one for projectors, not reflectors, but of course they may still be affected by such things. And yeah, I want to go into the 4 types of emotional waves that those with an emotional authority can go through. And this is all depending upon the channel that they actually have coming out of their emotional center as to what kind of wave that they may experience. Or they may even have more than one channel coming out, which then becomes even a little bit more complex. And we're not going to go into how you work with more than one emotional channel in this blog. We're going to keep it reasonably simple as much as we possibly can and go through them on a kind of channel by channel basis within their type of emotional wave that they're associated with. So why do we want to know this? Well, this can assist those with emotional authorities in making their big life decisions. Probably not something you necessarily want to be going through every day, whether you're deciding whether you want orange juice or apple juice for breakfast. As you may know, emotional waves can last days to months, for even longer, depending on the weight of the decision. How much is it going to affect you and those around you? So, if you're using this for the very small, minute decisions that you make on a very regular basis, you may find it's going to take you a really long time to do anything in your day-to-day life. However, coming to big decisions, this could be very useful in making sure it's what we might call in alignment with your design. Well, it can put you also more in alignment with what it is that you're here to do and how you are to also go about your life, not just with you, but that which is around you as well. Excuse me. So, yes, if you have an emotional authority, we like to say that emotionalists often live in the highs and lows of the emotions, and we're wanting to get you out of the highs and the lows into a place of more neutrality when you're making decisions. So this is not to say that we prevent highs and lows and the waves of which your emotions are going to come and go, but it's more of a patience. It's a waiting for more of the right moment to then make a clearer decision for yourself. Now, obviously, depending on whether you're a generator or a projector or any of the other two, there's going to be some other nuance to that as well. But we're not going to go into that in this vlog. You can pair up what we've recorded before with this one here. So the first wave I want to talk about is what we might call is the source wave. And there's one channel that's associated with this, and that has the gates 59 and 6. And the 6 is the one that's coming out of the emotional center. 59 is coming out of the sacral. So we might call this one the source of all waves. And it often goes a little like this. There's emotional ups that are then intercepted with plateaus of emotion. So they can have quite a steady sense of emotion if this is your channel coming out of your emotional authority, out of your solar plexus. And you want to be making decisions in the emotional plateau, not in the coming up of the emotion. So the second one I want to talk about is what we might call the tribal wave. That has two channels associated with it. One of them has the gates 19 and 49, and the other one has the gates 37 and 40. This type of emotional wave is probably considered more of the complex of the four, and it'll either go through the ego center or it'll go through the root, depending on which one of the channels that you have. So this one has a lot of smalls, ups and downs, and it can feel like things are building, like really, really, really building, getting to quite a pressure point within the being of you or of those around you. And then it's followed by steep drops. And those steep drops are what we would consider emotional releases. You're releasing that emotion out. And when you want to be making the decisions with this kind of emotional wave is after the drops have occurred. So not with the ups and downs and the building after the emotional drop or drops is when you want to be checking in with yourself about what decision, which direction are you going to go. And there could be a number of drops. So, you know, you might not get a clear answer in the first drop. So then you might have to wait for another drop or another drop. But eventually you will get to a point where the answer can become quite clear for you within your being. Now, the third one is what we would call the individual wave. And again, there are two channels that come out of the emotional center that we would classify as the individual waves. Now, one of them has the gates 22 and 12, and the other one is the gates 39 and 55. And this one is similar to the source wave. So there's emotional clarity a lot of the time with those that have this individual wave of emotions. And it's a little more clear than the others because it's not as intense as the others. So this is potentially maybe one of the more easier ones to work with. And it goes a lot like there's usually high emotion and then there'll be moments of like kind of detachment from the emotion, almost a bit of a distance. And what you're waiting for this one is for the emotional baseline before making the decision. So not necessarily when you're riding a real high emotion or when you're like super detached from it, when you're coming to a place of what we call neutrality with it. When that place is there, that's when you want to be engaging in your decision-making process. Now, the fourth and last one I want to talk about is what we call the collective wave. And this one has two channels coming out of it. One of them has the gates 30 and 41, and the other one has the gates 35 and 36. Now, this one is often associated with the highs and lows of the collective. So it's often a steady incline followed by a drop. And it's more stable than the tribal wave. The tribal wave has less stability about it. So what you're wanting to do with this one is for waiting out the highs and lows to pass before then you making the decision of what you're going to do, how you're going to be, where you want to go. And when we're talking major decisions, we're talking about things about like your, moving home, starting or ending relationships, starting or ending business, starting or ending all sorts of things that are what we might consider pretty big decisions. They're not decisions you're necessarily having to make on a day-to-day or weekly basis. These are decisions that, you're like, whoa, this is really going to change the trajectory of, where you are and those around you that are quite directly interrelated with you as well. So if you've got some more questions, you're welcome to leave that in the comment section below. You can also reach out to us on various social media links within the description box. And we'll see you again for another human design blog.